Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
And we welcome you to a steamy Tuesday edition of the Young Norvelle Show. Boy, we are in the middle of July, basically, and a little rainstorm came in, went out, and it is hot and steamy the way we like it here. Summertime in Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, everybody. Terry Norvelle coming to you live from our Tuesday home. You know it by now. We are at Hurricane Julington Creek. You know the location in the heart of Mandarin. Here's the big menu. I'll tell you all the great stuff. Burgers, obviously wings. It's in their name. Wings, over 30 flavors. I am very, very partial to the quesadillas and the tacos. They've got a diverse menu. You can order for days and not order the same thing when you are at Hurricane Julington Creek. Patrick Young is dialed up, ready to go. Patrick got a lot of baseball and softball talk coming up in a little bit on the program.
Yeah, excited for the softball talk for sure with Coach Walton gracing us with his time. I really can't wait to hear about, because I think for us that are big fans of major sports, you don't know how hard these coaches of smaller sports are hustling to get stuff done. So really interested.
Yeah.
And then I saw potential trade talk, baseball.
What do you got?
Paul Skeens' name came up.
Oh my.
Acuna's name came up. So yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're the Pirates, you can get, I'm not going to say unlimited value, but
yeah,
you get a lot of value from the Pirates. They're going to try to take the whole ship, though. You know, they're going to.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give you Paul Skeens, but give us 9 new players.
Yeah,
give us 9 new players for him.
He would command. I mean, the trade you would have to put together would be enormous, and I don't know all the terms and how it works, but Skeens is still under the team contract. I may have the phrasing wrong. And you know, he still has a long way to go to where he can dictate a trade. He's still under his first contract. So, boy, the Pirates could really dictate. So it'll be fun, though. The trade deadline, I guess the trade deadline is the 31st. So we're right around the corner on the trade deadline. We'll talk a lot of baseball with Kade Kistner, our buddy, the Sports Illustrated baseball publisher. Kade really knows the game. A lot has happened as we are steaming toward the All-Star game. We'll talk some softball, as you said. Florida Gators head softball coach.
Terry, we would be remiss if we didn't make sure everybody knew today is Prime Day. So
yeah, what's going on with that? No prime charge, or what's the deal?
Oh, I don't know. But what
delivery.
People need to realize, and Benita Young, my mother, she did, there's a new mattress she's been looking at.
Oh my.
And before this deal, the Prime Day came up, the price was really good, and she just put it in her cart on Sunday. By the next day, it went up in price. And what they're going to do on Prime Day is bring it back to that sale price and make it seem like a Prime deal. So folks, don't get sucked in just because it has lights and highlighted and this discount. Don't think, you know.
So
going on Amazon, you're not.
So I think there's like it no delivery charge and no this and no that for Prime Day. I've got a Prime question though.
All right. Talk to me.
Is Prime is related to Amazon, right? They're the same.
Amazon Prime, yep.
Amazon Prime. So if you were part of the Jeff Bezos wedding the other day, right? He got married finally. I'm assuming he was registered with Amazon, right? He would want everybody to buy their presents.
No, he told everybody no. They told everybody no gifts.
No gifts,
bro. Sydney Sweeney's there. Like, why?
Yeah. What's her deal? Who is she? I know she's very popular, very pretty girl. What's her story? Do you know?
She got her fandom from a show called Euphoria. On HBO. It's a pretty. Have you seen Shameless?
Yes.
It's in that category.
Years ago, I watched a lot
of just the debauchery and
because I loved Fiona.
The mindset that these high schoolers have and their unhealthy family. But anyways, she has really embraced the I'm on TV because I'm a pretty hot girl.
Yeah.
Persona, and she wants to do as many sex scenes as those come up in things
boy.
she does, which I'm like,
oh boy,
I can't, value. I'll listen to a podcast on value. What can you do when a person says, I value this so much that I want to give her money? So I'm not one of those people, but she was chatting with Tom Brady at the
she's running with Tom Brady, right?
Yeah,
she's running with Tom Brady. So Sydney Sweeney, pretty cool name. I can't lie.
Name. Oh, and this is even worse. I don't think I told you this. So I'm not even going to put a category or label, but I'll let you do it, Terry.
Okay.
She partnered with Squatch, which is a men's soap, and there is a specific fragrance of the soap that has some of her bath water in it. So I'm going to let you do with what you want for that information.
Oh God!
How gross is that? That's so.
That
gross.
is pretty disgusting, Patrick Young. Thanks for sharing that with us. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Sports show. Yeah. Hey, look. People value that. There's people buying it. I'm not one.
Yes, not me. I'm good. I'm good with I'm good without that. There's some news out I need to grab here. I'll try and grab it. I got an email. If you're a Jaguar fan and you're already in the world, the email world, you probably have gotten it. You want to go ahead and start acting now with camp coming up, and they're going to have some of those. Go watch practice. Go watch scrimmages and things like that. So if you're a Jaguar fan, keep an eye out. You're probably already registered for all that stuff. And Patrick, we're like less than 2 weeks away from NFL camps. Rookies.
Where's our boy Demetrius Harvey, man?
I don't know. He's too big for us now. He's a big guy.
He's too big for us now, man. I love that dude.
Every time I call him, he's busy. I'm busy. You know what that means,
dude, man. Gotta get the expert, the insider.
Yeah. When he's busy, that means Pat McAfee called or Stephen A. called.
But look, let's look at the Jaguars here on a holistic kind of perspective here.
Yeah.
The Jaguars kind of have to get, not say have to, but with them getting Travis Hunter, I guarantee you there's a lot more people that are going to, like, those tickets for training camp and all that stuff they let in, it's going to sell out because of the excitement level. And you just hope that it turns into production on the field. So, you look at it from that standpoint for the Jags, great move. But again, I had to explain this. To a kid. I was helping him do a basketball drill, and I said, it's such a misnomer. I said, and I gave you credit. I said my co-host Terry Norvelle says it all the time, especially regarding the NFL. Just because you're 1 year older does not mean you're better.
Yeah.
Does not mean that.
Yeah.
Look at Cooper Flagg in basketball.
Yeah. Good grief.
I mean, he was keeping up with NBA players at 16, 17. And also, at a certain point, there's an age cutoff where you got to say, all right, we're going to get what we're going to get out of this guy.
Yeah.
This player. Do we keep him? Do we move on? Is he something to build on? And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we don't have to make those decisions.
I know, definitely. Hey, you kind of touched on a little bit about value a moment ago. I'm getting to college football and I guess college sports, but college football mainly. I am really, really, really intrigued, Patrick, by how this and I'm going to call it, the college game doesn't like you to say salary cap, but they do have a salary cap. There is a salary cap. The law of the land came across and said $20.5 million is the cap. You can use that to pay all of your athletes. Most schools have come out and said, we're going to use 75% of the cap on football. So Patrick, here's what I'm intrigued about. And I think it's going to just kind of work itself out in the free market system. Every program, it looks like they're going to use $15 million a year to buy and pay and hopefully attract their football players. Now,
okay,
I can't wait to see the evolution because, Patrick, you've got several ways to go, and there may be some trial and error. If I've got $15 million for my football program, Patrick, am I better off going and getting in the middle of three of the best players out there, and I may have to give $3 million each to three best players, and that's going to eat up That's going to eat up $9 million of my 15.
Right.
Then I got to put the rest of my team together. Or am I better off going and getting 10 pretty good players, what I think, right? I mean, I can't wait to see how this – and I think there's going to be trial and error. I think some years –
Yeah, I think so. And do you think it's better that they didn't agree on a percentage of that 20?
Yes.
You think so?
I do, because then you can make the decision if you are – hell, Kentucky basketball.
Exactly. Great.
They may say, hey, we value basketball more than football. But, Patrick, if I had one message to the college football fan, it would be give it a little time.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's going to work itself out. But that is a tough call. Do we try and go buy 2 Cooper flags at $5 million each?
Right.
And then the rest of our team is, or do we try and buy 5 solid players at $1 million each?
Well, that's why you look at a program, and I'm glad we're a Florida show and a Florida State show. Both of those programs undeniably want to be successful in football and basketball and baseball. I mean, every school wants to be, but those 2 big money makers. I mean, you got 15 guys on a college basketball roster. And I'm sure I could look this up, but I think Kentucky's basketball team this year, I think they are upward of $7 million, their roster alone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how does it work in the function of, all right, especially if this happened, especially if players actually have a system that shows their value. I know that's what we're hoping for Deloitte to do. That will help schools to make better decisions. But first thing, fans, you got to accept no school is going to get it right in the first try.
I agree. See, that's what I've been preaching.
You got to accept.
Let it happen. Let it evolve. It's got to breathe a little bit.
Look at the NFL. Like when they went to a lot of these major changes, it wasn't success. And look, there may have been some teams that were those outliers that struck lightning, but for the majority, that's not how it works.
You know, I'm glad you brought in the NFL. Yeah. You know, there are 2 philosophies in the NFL how to build your roster. Some people say you build it through free agency and throw money. Some people say you build it through the draft.
Right.
I don't know how. I don't think college football knows what the best, most frugal way. Well, and it may be different per school.
Direct correlation to what you said. Do I recruit more players out of high school or focus on the transfer portal?
Yeah. Yeah. Do I think my team is better off if I try to get 3 DJ Lagways that are going to eat up a lot of my football money, or am I better off getting 10 good, solid players and 1 DJ Lagway? I don't know.
I'm just, and you know, this is a good. I wish we had Brent Beard on this topic because running through my mind right now are just scenarios of how will the fans react if, let's say out of that 10 million. QB1 and potentially QB2. Let's say QB1 is getting 3 million, QB2 is getting 1.5. Like, what if QB1 gets hurt? Yeah. QB2 sucks. Yeah. That's just what you have to accept is gonna happen. Like, we've broken through that dam of these guys are getting money. Like, you can't
absolutely.
We're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube. Like, that's out.
Yeah, that's done.
Now we're trying to figure out what is the best next container for the toothpaste now that it is out of the tube, because we can't put it back.
And you know, Patrick, I think the fan is going to have to adapt as well as this thing plays out. I think there's going to be situations where we'll just use Florida because we talk about the Gators a lot. I think there'll be situations, and this is across the board, not just Florida, but I think you're going to have a pretty good player. Let's say you're paying a pretty good player his first year as a starter, and, you know, he makes, $400,000. But he put up ridiculous numbers.
Right.
You need to pony up. He's going to ask for about $3 million, just like the NFL free agency. But you may have already allocated.
Yeah.
So the NFL fan, they miss on players because they don't have enough salary cap room.
Yeah.
That's going to happen in college football. And
that's the one differential point there, Terry, where players have to understand like, yes, I'm not going to say this isn't life-changing money and
Yeah.
whatnot, but like the offensive tackle just signed a 3-year
Texas Tech?
deal with Texas Tech,
Yeah.
$5.1 million.
Yeah.
Like, done. That's it.
Yeah.
Who gets hurt the most on sit-outs? The
Yeah.
players. The players I mean, and just think, if you're a player that sits out in college, what do you think the NFL team is going to think about you?
Yes.
And because they're thinking NFL long-term, obviously guaranteed money, all that stuff. And again, I'm not trying to discredit the amount of money that these young players are getting, but looking at the big picture, you want to be as unblemished as possible when going through the NFL draft and NBA draft process, especially when it comes to character. You don't want anything said negatively about your character.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Patrick, I'm going to put you on the spot right here. This just hit me. I love putting you on the spot. I love it. I love it. Okay, we go way back 100 years when you were in college, because you're an old dude now.
Well, then how long ago was it when you were in college?
Long time ago. You hush. Well, I'm asking you. I'm putting you on the spot, not me. If all this money stuff, all this, NIL and all was in place 100 years ago when you were coming through Florida, who would you be listening to more for advice? Mom, dad, or sister?
Mom.
You didn't hesitate.
Mom and sister, probably.
What about dad?
I know my dad. I mean, he just wouldn't be able to on those ins and outs and small things which I appreciate, because my dad would be one of those people say, hey, you made this agreement, follow through with it. We're not doing all that sit out stuff. We're not doing all that stuff. If you're healthy and you can play, because now fans are not only technically paying to be a fan, they're coming to the events, they're watching on TV. Yeah. They're actually paying you now.
How about that?
Right.
Now, let me ask you another question. If you determine that mom is your conscience and she's the smart one you want to go with, she's going to help you through this what if she asked for, would you give her 20%, 25%? What if she asked for 35% because she got this deal done? What about 40, Pat? Where would you cut your mom off at, Pat? Where would you?
Well, I talked to an athlete not too long ago, and he was talking about how he had his mom and dad handling his stuff for a bit, and then it just got, and again, this is not criticizing parents want to do their best for their kids, but an average mom and dad have never done contract negotiations or any of that kind of stuff.
And you know what? So, there's something about most moms and dads. You know what? I know, man, if I was a major league player 25 years ago before my mom died, she would have given a damn if I made millions of dollars. My mom wouldn't have cared about money, Wow. That's how parents are, kind of, isn't it? My mom's like, okay, well, honey, do you got enough to eat?
Well, shoot. I mean, just think if you're Shedeur Sanders, he has all the money in the world. I think as a mom, you would say, I just hope all this stuff doesn't change him. Yeah. Doesn't make him, entitled or poor decisions. Obviously, really nice car, driving it really fast when you're young, 22 years old. I get it. I think that's more of a mom's concern. Yeah. Because I mean, a lot changes when you have a lot of money in your pocket. Yeah. Yeah. But I think Terry, and this is me at 33 thinking this, I probably would have asked my mom to see if the financial advisor that they use for their accounts, if he'd be willing to help and negotiate
a little bit. That stuff. You just made me think of. You just made me think of something too, and this doesn't. I don't think get explained. Not having any money can make you make bad decisions, right? If you're poor and you're rubbing two nickels together and you don't know who to pay and you don't know how to maybe illegally try and get some money. If you have no money, that makes bad decisions sometimes. Of course, if you have too much money, that's going to make bad decisions probably, right?
Without a doubt.
I mean, yes.
I mean, it's almost common sense, It's, especially on the side of, like you saying, having no money and you're hungry or you got a family. Many people will go and do what they got to do to feed their family.
Yeah, do what they got to do. All right, Pat, let me tell people about the Jacksonville Basketball Academy still going on. This thing goes all the way through early August. Coach Jim Martin over at Providence, longtime coach. I don't know if he's the dean of coaches, but he's got to be close in our area. He is a well-respected basketball coach, really knows the game. He has coached many college players and several professional players, such as Patrick Young, guys that make money playing basketball. If you've got a basketball player in your life really looking to take their game to the next level, you can't go wrong. Join up with the Jacksonville Basketball Academy. Find them online. Just Google Jacksonville Basketball Academy. Multiple weeks still left. Different levels, different skill levels, different age groups to get your basketball player in the right area to improve his or her game. We've got tryouts coming up here, middle school tryouts, high school tryouts, or if you're already an accomplished player, but you're trying to literally get to the next level, college and or thinking pro ball, they've got a camp for you as well. They know the game. They teach every aspect of the game. You can't go wrong. Look it up online. Google Jacksonville Basketball Academy. Camps run all the way through early August. Plenty of time to get hooked up and work on your basketball game. All right, Pat, let's take a quick break. We hope to come back and talk with Tim Walton, the Florida Gator softball coach, the head softball coach. Tim Walton, a legend down in Gainesville, 2 national titles, more trips to Oklahoma City than you can count. Looking forward to talking to him in a moment. The state of college softball, I think it's very high. And also the new Pro League. I watched some of the game last night. The new Pro League is off and running. We'll talk with Tim Walton, the Gator softball coach, when we come back right here on it.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give That One Painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with That One Painter First Coast on your team.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Okay, about ready to kick things off here as we approach the 4:30 mark here on a Tuesday. I want to thank our good friends. As always, our Tuesday home is Hurricane Jointon Creek. Great menu, well over 30 flavors for your wings. You can mix and match all your wings. Tremendous wing selection here at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Of course, that is in the name. But, boy, what a great diverse menu. Burgers, entrees. They've got some seafood as well. Tacos, I love the tacos, and I love the quesadillas. Patrick, I had the last time I was here about a week ago, had a lunch meeting here. I had the Monterey chicken quesadillas, big time, big time, and they're big, thick, heavy quesadillas here, Patrick. Even you can get full.
I made some last night, man. I wasn't too bad.
Nice. What about the shirt we just put on? What do you got there?
What are you talking about? I was wearing what?
Look at that shirt. That is good looking. Florida softball. We hope to talk about it.
It is a nice color. It is a great color.
It's a really nice shirt. As we introduce our next guest.
There he is.
Tim Walton, head coach at Florida for the softball team. Coach, thanks for your time. Did we catch you probably in the middle of your vacation? I know you guys don't have a whole lot of time in the summer. How you doing, my friend?
No, it's coaches, baseball and softball coaches don't get married till the middle of August or the middle of December. It's we don't get married in July. We're recruiting, so we're right in the middle. We're in the thick of it right now. We're
I hope we're not pulling you away from that great shortstop or that great left-handed arm at about 72 miles an hour. Did you see Patrick's shirt, Coach? Did you see the shirt he's got on?
Hey, and this is how well we take care of Gators. I sent Patrick that shirt myself. I didn't have somebody else send it. I sent it to him.
That is good stuff.
And quick question, because I for Terry, for myself. Please fill us in on how the sunflowers and everything. I'm sure you've talked about.
That's a great story. Good job, Patrick.
Please let us know how that, because I wear it all the time. I just want to be able to explain what it means.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about our stadium, if you come to our stadium, inside and out, very similar to what Fenway Park has in Boston. We have basically the story of the sunflower. How did the sunflower evolve? Nice. What does the color yellow signify? So the yellow color signifies pediatric cancer. Nice. And that's what our kids are fighting for all the time. They're trying to bring awareness, bring a little bit of notoriety to such a nasty disease in those young kids. And the story behind the sunflower is a young lady who passed in 2014, Heather Braswell. She was an adoptee of our team. We adopted her in our program. Francesca Ney, one of my coaches now, All-American player back then. Adopted this kid to come in, and she came on game days, practice days, spent time with us, really uplifting. But long story short, it's the sunflower is her favorite flower, and that's what we wear on Saturdays. Sunflower Saturdays are for the fight for pediatric cancer.
And it has really become I think all of women's softball around the country immediately recognizes when Florida's playing, they know that sunflower. It's a tradition. It's a great tradition. It's a sad yet great tradition, but it needs to happen. And you've got to be real proud of your players that had the wherewithal to think ahead like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. You know, you start talking about playing for something bigger than yourself, your stats, your wins, your losses, all that stuff. I think it's a cool thing for us to be able to recognize that. But one of the coolest stories I heard, a gentleman, Dennis Murphy, who started the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation in New York, Boston, up in the Northeast. Long story short, he started this program to try to help not only the brain tumor kids surviving tumor, but also their siblings, because they get lost in the shuffle of all the attention being paid on the sick kids. And so there's some really cool stories. But he talked about when we wear the sunflower, that it brings a smile to people's faces because they know exactly what the yellow and the sunflower means. And that right there gave me chills and gave me enough to just want to keep, no matter what we got to do, we got to keep fighting for it.
And Coach, I promise Patrick and I, we've got some ball questions, man. We love the sport. I mean, Patrick and I fell in love with this sport probably when the SEC Network debuted in 2014. Every Friday night during softball season, there was this great game. There was Alabama and Florida, and there was all these, teams going at it. Coach, I promise we got some ball questions, but your sunflower, that whole story, Patrick and Coach Walton, you know what came to mind? Iowa football, where they wave over the stadium to the pediatric area. And I mean, if that doesn't bring a tear to your eye, nothing will. Nothing will. All right, Coach, let's talk some softball. Coach Tim Walton, the head softball coach at the University of Florida, long-time, two-time national title
he wanted to win those after I left. So,
Coach, talk about, number one, just your game. And I'm giving college softball to you. Your game is in a good place right now. I mean, every year, all the numbers, all the quantitative numbers, attendance, viewership, just water cooler talk at the workplace. Softball has really exploded. Your game's in a good place right now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and to kind of go back what you said earlier, there's no time. Our platform is huge, and anytime we can use our platform, forget about ball, but just to bring all kinds of special things to families, to kids in need. That's what it's all about. Sport is such an unbelievable, facet to being able to teach people how to be good people, and I think that's important to me. It's one of the biggest things when people talk about our program, they talk about the character and they talk about things. I mean, that's the most important thing to me. But I'll tell you, our sport is in a good place. Like you said, the viewership. When I watch kids, I just got back from a major tournament in Colorado, and I see the number of teams, the players, the coaches, the brands, the family members. So many people are doing this at a high level. I was a decent ball player, but these guys are amazing. The amount of time, the amount of work, the amount of input that they put in. It's such an amazing thing to see. Our overall athleticism from the time the SEC started in 1997 to where we're at now in 2025, the overall athleticism and dedication to each one of the individuals, it's amazing.
And go ahead, Patrick.
Coach, I got a specific question to that because at the Super Regional, y'all dropped a game against Georgia. You come on, I think one of the players just talking about how it wasn't like a time to just relax, or just like how y'all just worked so much harder that next day in terms of practice, etc. I'm like, what does that look like in the softball? Like, and Terry, you can speak to this as being a baseball player. You have a bad game or a game you shouldn't have lost. Like, what is the formula that you see that's worked to help your players to just obviously forget what just happened and go perform better?
Yeah, I'll go back to that. We played 11 o'clock on Friday. We won. Played 11 o'clock on Saturday. We lost. Good game, 2-0. It was a good ball game. We left runners on base. Good softball all the way around. Georgia played great. We played great. We just didn't score any runs. And so I'm usually a turn the page guy. Like, hey, tomorrow's a new day. Here we go. And that night, for some reason, I don't know what it was. I say that day, because the game was over by about 12:50. Yeah. So by that day, I'm in my office, and it's me and my assistant coach, Eric Thomas, and we're just going through every pitch, every play, everything.
Really? Wow.
And I said to him, you know what? We're worried too much about Georgia. Forget about Georgia. Let's focus on the Gators. What do we have to do to be better tomorrow? And sure enough, we rolled up we started hitting. We started right away in the first inning. And so from a preparation standpoint, the next day when we brought our players in to get ready to go, it was more about them. What are you good at? What do you want to be good at? How are you going to attack? Whether it's a left-handed pitcher or right-handed, what are you going to be good at? And I think the key for me is just it's one of those old adages. If you focus too much on the other team or the opponent, you're going to be a lesser version of yourself. Exactly. And I think we just focused too much on them. And then sure enough, we came out, played really well. And, next thing you know, we're on our way marching to Oklahoma City again for the 13th time.
Coach, you mentioned 1997 is kind of a line in the sand. 1997, the SEC. Patrick, I can remember probably this season when softball was in the middle of the season. Thank God, the state of Florida and probably a bunch of the southern states changed high school softball from slow pitch to fast pitch. Because I remember, Patrick, I told you softball was dominated on the West Coast because the Southeast didn't play fast pitch.
Really?
The SEC didn't. How can you play fast pitch if your feeder schools, high schools, are playing slow pitch? Coach, thank God that this Florida and I guess a bunch of other states changed to fast pitch.
Can you imagine?
And look how quickly the SEC has become, I think, the dominant part of the country.
But can you imagine as like you're being told, all right, we're no longer doing slow pitch, and like there's an actual legitimate, really good pitcher. She throws the ball in there 65. You're like, oh well, I'm not playing this.
But Coach, am I right? I can remember going to see my niece played, and I think she kind of overlapped when it transitioned from slow pitch. You can't have fast pitch softball in college in the SEC if your feeder schools are playing slow pitch.
No, you're right. So I give you, I'm older now as well and well seasoned. So I was an assistant coach at Oklahoma in 1999. That's my first year coaching softball. We won the national championship in 2000, which was the very next year, my second year at Oklahoma. On our national championship softball team at Oklahoma,
right.
We had at least 5 players from the state of Oklahoma that all played fast pitch softball in the fall and slow pitch softball in the spring. And let me tell you what, when you're playing slow pitch softball, you're either a hitter or a defender or both. But we had some amazing defenders on our team because they played slow pitch. And so
smash the ball at them. Yeah.
You hit it hard. We had an awesome third baseman, and she's got great throwing the glove around and doing stuff. But you're right on the money. I think Cooper City in the state of Florida was one of the best areas for slow pitch softball. In the early to mid 90s. And I don't know what exact last year of softball was. But every state, you're right, in the Southeast, a couple of states were accelerated. I think Tennessee and Alabama and some other ones, but all the states played slow pitch, probably until about the mid 90s.
Coach, we talked, and Pat, jump in with any questions you have as well. But Coach, we talked about where the game is at, women's fast pitch softball at the collegiate level. It's in a wonderful spot. Patrick and I, if we had $1 for every time on this show, and I know when I'm out and about just talking ball, because people want to talk ball, if I had $1 for every time I said, I truly think women's fast pitch softball is the best TV sports game out there. It sets up perfect for television. Number one, the field's tight. You can see everything. There's not a 420-foot blast where the camera can barely see if the center fielder caught it.
By the way, Kendra Falvey just caught another ball.
She just caught it. By the way, Falvey caught it. But Coach, can't speak to that though. That it's quick. The game is it's played fast. It's played at a high level. It's a perfect television game. I tell people.
Well, in 1998, I was an assistant coach on the Oral Roberts men's baseball team that went to regionals in College Station, Texas.
Right.
And that was my last year of I went next year. It's a long story, but long story short, I can tell you we played 7 softball games in a day faster than we played one of those baseball games.
Oh, my God.
And it's crazy. I played at the College World Series, won a national championship as a player, and nothing has been more like just brain stimulating and amazing to watch. I say it this way. Softball at the highest level is one of the most fun things to watch and one of the most fun things to do and coach because it's nonstop. Like if you think so Patrick obviously had to play defense and offense and transition and do all the things. Yeah. We're doing that same thing in softball. You have to transition from fielding the ball to throwing the ball, fielding the ball to catching the ball. Right. This girl might bunt. This girl might you have to be I don't want to say a step ahead, but you always have to be ready for whatever's going to come at you. And if you're a step behind, you're going to get beat every single time. And that's what I love. Is it's a great strategy sport, but it's great for viewership, but it's also when you're on campus and you watch a game, it's
sold out every time. It's sold out every time. So I got a good one for you here, Coach. you've experienced since you started, 99 was your first assistant job at Oklahoma. Like, the game has changed so much since then. Like, what was the first kind of before NIL? Like, how did that affect your coaching style in terms of these recruiting, them thinking about, like, because this is before there were options for outside of USA, you know, like how did you mold the way that you kind of coach? Obviously your why is the same of why you do it, but like, how did you have to adapt to that?
Yeah. So I got the job at Oklahoma. The 98 team hit 30, I think it was 38 home runs.
Okay.
In 2000, my second year at Oklahoma, we hit 85 home runs.
Okay, wow.
I was going to say two girls can hit 30 now. 30 now.
Yeah. So you've seen the game, and you know, I talked to Jeremy Foley. He and I go to lunch probably every 3 months or so, and he talked about the first 2 games when they added softball at Florida, and it was 1-0, 1-0. He's like, oh my gosh, there's no offense, and it was always pitching dominated. But I think the game's really changed. Since '96 Olympics in Atlanta, the game's changed. The players have changed. But to answer your question, Patrick, so I had always been known as the offensive guy. So we lost the national championship in 2009, 2011, 2009, 2011, and 2017, I think, are 3 losses in the national championship finals. And 2014, 2015, we won back-to-back. But my point to going kind of all over the place is I've always been the speaker who's been talking about offense.
Yeah.
The minute I changed my plan, in other words, I became more of a chameleon. So we weren't just offense. We were now defense with some offense. We were defense with pitching. So I can tell you now that we'll pitch, we'll play defense, we'll hit. We're not going to be perfect, but I think that Florida saw here's a good one. We're one of the only programs. We've had a Gold Glove winner in center field. We've had a Gold Glove winner in the middle infield. We've had a Gold Glove winner behind the plate now. Not very many people can tell you that they actually truly can groom players to be the best players, not necessarily be a cookie cutter place where you're going to do everything the same way, the same time. So I think I've adapted. I would say this: I adapt to my players.
Yeah.
Who my players are is what I adapt to, and then it's my job to just figure out how to get them all in line and be the best when we need to be the best.
Well, a quick follow up to that: have you had to be a chameleon again, or change in terms of now we got NIL money, we have recruiting changes, and a professional league? Have those things impacted how you see things as well?
Yeah, so I spent a long time since 2015 and 2019 to 20. I coached the USA squads. I was with the junior squad, and then I was with the USA squad. So we won a world championship in 22, and then we went again. We lost last year to Japan in a really good series in Italy. So I've seen what the highest level looks like and what professionals look like. And I can tell you that the AUSL league and some of the other professional leagues that we've had the MPF. We've had now with the Texas Smoke. I have Charlotte Eccles playing on that. We have the Vibe down with Hannah Adams and Kade Kistler's coaching the team. So I've seen the professional leagues. What I think now that the AUSL has done is grabbed onto the television market and shown what it can look like again at another level, and actually pay athletes maybe not quite perfect yet from a paying formula, but now MLB is sponsoring and at least supporting. We'll just call it supporting. I've seen the game really change, and the NIL piece. Again, I think we all can agree that NIL is good. But it's also without having any guardrails or any borders. It's ultimately it's now become a little bit more pay for play than it became more about what NIL was. So I think there's a lot of good to it. It has completely changed the way we do stuff. It's not, you can no longer, just talk about, you just can no longer do the same things. And so you can either complain about it or you can figure out how to adjust to it. And I mean, as much as I want to say that there's a lot of bad, the fact that we have a lot of businesses, we have a lot of boosters, we have a lot of people that are willing to open up their checkbooks and support not only Gator football, Gator basketball, Gator baseball, but they're also willing to support Gator softball, Gator volleyball, Gator soccer, Gator gymnastics. The only hard part that I can say this for us, Patrick, and this is hard, is Florida's the everything school. We're good at everything. Yeah. And now when you're Florida softball is competing against the Gators, Gator football is competing against Gator basketball. Gator basketball is competing. We're all competing for the same resources.
Yeah.
And ultimately, unless we get some corporate sponsorship behind it, I mean, this is not a sustainable model.
Yeah.
And hopefully the House settlement can really help, put some guardrails to some things and give us a little bit of parameter. But at the end of the day, I think that we coaches, that we just all, if you don't change, you're going to be forgotten. That's just how it's going to be.
We're discussing softball with Florida coach Tim Walton. Coach, I want to get back to the AUSL. I was flipping back and forth last night. Great game on AUSL. And then the Tigers in Tampa Bay were playing. I was back and forth. But I want to go back to your game, the college game, and what a good place it is. Patrick mentioned I was a little bit of a baseball player. I played at JU 150 years ago. One issue that hurts me with the college baseball game, midweek game, is, and I'll use Florida State for an example, and it'll give some people. Obviously, Florida State baseball, they play 3 times. They play in Gainesville one game every year. They play in Tallahassee one game. They play in Jacksonville, where we're at. The problem with midweek baseball, just the physical nature of how you throw a baseball overhand versus underhand softball. When Florida State play in baseball on a Tuesday night, it's a midweek game. A lot of times it's on TV, but it's not the best product because Florida State, because of conference games coming up on the weekend and the nature of pitching a baseball, you can't throw your 1, 2, or 3 guys. You're throwing your 4, 5, or 6, and the game can look a little ugly. I hate to say that, but the baseball game. Conversely, Coach, when you guys knock heads, Florida and Florida State, in softball on a Tuesday night, well, the nature of throwing a softball, it can be 1 versus 1, and it's a hellacious, great game, Coach.
1 versus 1.
That's a big advantage, I think, the midweek game for softball.
It is. I could play devil's advocate and say that you start that young kid and you're giving him a taste of what the big spotlight's going to look like.
There you go.
Hopefully you're trying to build some stepping stones to what this kid can throw. Maybe he throws Sunday next year. Maybe he throws Friday on his 3rd year. I think there's some good and bad, but you're 1,000% right. I mean, if you look at our midweek record, and you look at what I've done in 20 years at Florida, we take midweek serious. And you have to. If you're gonna host a super regional, if you're gonna be one of the top 8 seeds, you have to play those games like they're big. They are big games for us. And so I'll be honest with you. I do think that is an advantage to us. And although we are seeing a lot more injuries in our athletes when they're coming into college, I mean, it's just the number of games that they play, and at the high school and at the youth level, we have more injuries. And the I mean, you look at everything. You look at NBA and some of the freak injuries that happened with some of the Achilles and some other stuff. I think we all, at some point in time, we want to win championships so bad that we overtrain or we just do a lot of stuff. And it's no different at the grassroots level. Every kid is training really hard, working really hard. And that we're just forgetting one piece, and that's the recovery piece. Recovery's got to be a big part of what we do. There's got to be a little bit of downtime, not only mentally but physically. I think. Yeah,
Coach. I can't remember exactly what game it was last year. Not you guys, but I reached out to you because a pitcher. It was the SEC tournament. Some girl threw like 198 pitches. Like it went into the 13th inning, and I'm like. Coach, how does her arm not fall off? And you're like, well, the mechanics are different. I think you said you actually saw some girl throw 250 pitches in a game or two, which is so what goes into your decision making? Because it's not really fatigue when you're pulling a pitcher. Like what goes into your decision making there? Obviously throwing strikes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We played Oklahoma in the 2017 College World Series, and we played 17 innings.
I remember the game well.
It was 5 hours and so to use the word fatigue, I remember sitting in the dugout in 2017. I don't remember what inning it was. I just needed a rest, and I wasn't even playing. So to me, I just would say that I think the training supports that. Again, the baseball has the magic number of 100 pitches.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a magic number of 100, but I will say that now we have technology in all the stadiums, so it really helps. You can see velocity. So if you start to see velocities really start to drop down, velocities, location pieces, hard contact, and things like that. Like if a kid throws 178 pitches and she gives up 3 hits and strikes out 20. I don't know how fatiguing that is. You know, I'm like, hey, coach, why are you pulling me out? I'm going to strike 3 more out in the next inning. But if she's throwing 178 pitches and she's giving up 17 hits and 9 runs or 12 runs,
let's get her out.
Time to get her out. Yeah. One of those.
Coach, we only have a few more questions. I know we've used up a lot of time. If we can, let's switch to the new professional softball league. I mean, the AUSL, as you mentioned, Major League Baseball has got a vested interest in that. I'm watching the game last night. The Volts are playing the Bandits, and I'm like, Patrick, I love your game. I have fallen in love with your game, but I'm not the number one fan. But I'm watching the game last night, and, Coach, 5 or 6 players I remember. So the feeder system is there. Amanda Lawrence goes yard last night.
2-run jack.
yeah. And I think that was left on left. I think the Texas A&M girl, it was left on left. By the way, what a swing she has. Amanda Lawrence goes yard last night. Skylar Wallace is playing short. I mean, these are people I know from
How
as
does
a
that
fan.
feel, seeing them
Rachel
continuing to chase their dream? How does that make you feel,
Isn't
Coach?
that great? But, Coach, let me finish real quick. You've got Rachel Garcia on the mound, a star at UCLA. I mean, there are 5 or 6 players that I recognize. I'm excited about this league from a feeder system, from a recognition. We know these players. And, Coach, the entire game, the TV production, everything looks first class. And you can tell the MLBs, I'm excited as hell about this league and the opportunities for not only the players to continue and make a living at that, but coaches. It's a great coaching opportunity too.
Yeah. But it's not only a great coaching opportunity, but you talked about the product and what ESPN's doing. The coaching support, Major League Baseball's Kimming running, helping. She was obviously the general manager for the Marlins. There's a lot of things going, and I say this like just being like it's about time. It's about time.
I know, right?
I mean, if not for the NBA, the WNBA would have struggled and probably did struggle for so many years.
Sure.
So having Major League Baseball support, and Patrick asked, how does it make me feel? Like, I'm excited that we've got athletes that have an opportunity to maybe stay in the United States and not have to go overseas to play all the time and make they make real money overseas.
Like, Coach,
and they just really do.
Alo, like her at Oklahoma. I'm just like,
what a player.
She's equivalent to a Heisman winner, and it's like there's not much for a skill that she's mastered for a next level to continue that thing. And it's just like, gosh.
And there should be. Like you said, it's great entertainment. So last night they mic'd up one of my managers. Her name's Erin
I saw that. That was great TV last night.
Erin Koffel's a manager for us at Florida. She's getting her master's degree, learning. She wants to be a coach one day. Was an All-American from Kentucky, plays on the USA squad. And just not only her passion, but her ability to articulate just what it's meant to her to be a Gator this year as a manager. She's learning from the coaches. She's learning how to – but one of the things that I saw in Erin is being out of college, she's now learned how to coach herself. She's a professional, and she's treating her body like a professional. She's working out. She's training. She's doing things. That's the big key. If you can have an opportunity for women to make real money to where that could be their job, you're going to see the softball. Because I would say this, that one of the things you see from softball players, they get better as time goes on. They become more confident. They hit the ball harder. They can understand how to let the failure piece go really quickly. And so I think that emotional stability of being mature and being older is good for the athletes, but it's great for the game.
Coach, a couple more, and I promise we're going to let you go. We'll 2 more minutes.
I got one last. You go
2
ahead.
more minutes. I don't want to sell short. The other player that I recognized last night, I think it's a big deal that there's a feeder system, and we recognize these players from the SEC season and the regionals and the super regionals and Oklahoma City. Jessie Warren, the great Seminole third baseman who led FSU. She was on the team last night. I'm like, man, I recognize these players. I think that's a huge advantage that we recognize. I
was on the field last year. Jessie Warren in Italy. Jessie played third base for the USA squad in Italy. Yeah. And I had a chance to coach her when I coached the Orlando Pride, which was the old professional league. Jessie Warren's one of the best third basemen in the entire country, if not one of the best in the entire world. She is amazing with her glove. She's skillful. She's amazing, to be honest with you. And most people go, who is that?
Coach, my last thing, Patrick may have one more. My last thing. your team has had so many players that I've just almost. This is my favorite. No, this is my favorite. I was a little left-handed, never strike out guy, no home runs. Amanda Lorenz, her swing. Do you remember the first time? I think she's a California kid.
She is.
If I'm not. Do you remember the first time you were scouting her, or you got tape on her, and did you go, "Wow, that's a beautiful swing"?
Yeah, she was wearing pink Nikes, some Nike Frees. I remember it just like it was yesterday. I was sitting on a bench, and I go, "Whoa!"
Really hit it.
It's hand-eye coordination to the fullest extent. She can hit the ball backside meaning you know what backside is. But
Absolutely.
She hits the ball to left field as good as anybody in the country ever. And she covers up the ball. In other words, however the ball is moving, she covers up the ball with her barrel as good as anybody. And she was a four-time All-American, the only position player in Florida history to be that. She is absolutely amazing. And I got a chance to go to her wedding. That just tells you how much I think she's an amazing human being.
Nice. Patrick, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I got one, and because I'm not going to make you play favorites because that's like impossible to ask a coach his favorites. But who are in your tenure at Florida would you put in your top 5 players you've coached? And this is on statistics.
Oh, this is tough, Pat.
We're going based on stats and performance. I know you love all the girls.
So why don't I just say, I would say that Chandler Parsons, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Chris Chioza. Let's go to some of those great plays. Patrick Young, number 4.
I'm not in the top 5, so I wouldn't. Terry reminds me of it every day, so it's all good.
Okay. I mean, that's like asking a parent which one of their kids is their favorite. Although we have a favorite, we just can't say it out loud.
Coach,
I've been very fortunate though. I have. So when you mentioned the feeder system, I recruit players that match my personality. I work really hard to try to find players that want to be coached, and they want to be coached hard. Because the players that I recruit, do you want to be an All-American? It's going to take a lot of work. Do you want to be a good player? Doesn't take as much work. Not everybody wants to be an All-American. It's really hard because there's a lot of things that you have to. Number one, you have to be good enough, and most of the players I recruit are. But there's a lot of dedication outside of, the field that the coaches see to make people special, to be that good. And so at the end of the day, I just try to recruit players that match. Florida is a special place.
Do the girls watch a lot of film themselves too, like of their at bats and infielding and all that?
Yeah, we do. And it's yes, a lot. Some more than others. Some have found their way where they just want to watch the positive things that happen. They don't want to watch the negatives and focus on that too much. But others, for the most part, it's. I would say
that's me, Coach.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
And Coach, you deserve this. All the coaches that have worked with you at Florida deserve this. All your players, and even the previous regime. I think it was Coach Ray, if I've got that right, Larry Ray, and the administration when Florida decided to get in this softball game. I mean, it's come a long way. That name on your shirt must go a long way when you're walking into a tournament and recruiting. Yeah. I mean, that's got to carry a lot of weight.
That's cool.
It's very prideful. I wore the yellow shirt Patrick wore. I was doing a camp in Colorado, and I wore that shirt, and I told the kids the story about the yellow and the yellow sunflower. I'm very fortunate. I told my wife, we moved our family to Florida. I told her, I said, hey, give us 5 years. This is what it's going to look like. The 2 previous coaches before me were fired. Yeah. Nobody fires softball coaches, especially not 2 of them. And it just tells you what Florida athletics. If Florida athletics is going to do something, we started lacrosse, and we've been in 3 or 4 different conferences, and have won the conference almost every year. Amanda O'Leary's been here, so I think that's a credit to what Florida athletics really truly stands for. Is that they're going to give you the resources to be successful. And it's your job to go out there and coach them like heck and win championships.
Good stuff, Coach Walton. And Patrick Young, tip of the hat for setting this up, man. I could go for another hour talking.
I know, right? I know, right?
He mentioned his wife.
I'm going to tip my cap to Lonnie Alameda. Lonnie Alameda is the Florida State coach. And, she's been battling breast cancer. And, it's really, obviously it's a terrible disease. But at the same to do it with the way she does it and bringing awareness to that disease for all. I think she told me 1 in 4 women are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lives. And but she's done a great job of being an ambassador to that and being the face of. And really want to just tip my cap and tell her God bless and keep fighting.
A legend over there in Tallahassee and in the softball world, Coach Alameda. Good job. Coach. I'll let you go. I know your wife's probably madder than hell at both of Patrick and I. You're probably waiting on dinner. So
my wife's jealous.
Let's do it again.
My wife's jealous. I get to talk to Patrick Young. That's what she's jealous about.
Nice. I like it.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Coach Walton. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Coach. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
guys. Okay, go Gators.
Patrick Young, good stuff setting that up. Wow, I knew it was going to be good. That was really good.
And I think what I love so much, you see like how much he loves his career. It's more than just like this is his calling.
Yeah.
This space, this platform with his family. Like, yeah, I mean, you're starting off something and trying to build it back in 06.
Yeah.
And all right, we're going to give it 5 years. And it's like, I mean, what, almost 20 years later.
Yeah.
13 appearances.
2 national titles, a bunch of appearances, and a bunch of almost. I mean, they've almost won 3 or 4 more.
Terry, I was looking at because I use ChatGPT for everything. I say, hey, give me, who you think some of the top players under coach are. Lauren Hager. She was while I was there.
Great player.
Aubrey Monroe. I know Aubrey. She was a great catcher.
Great player.
Kelsey Stewart.
Remember her?
Michelle Moultrie and Hannah Rogers. I forgot that Hannah overlapped.
I think Moultrie was from around here.
Dude, how crazy that they have Lauren Hager as a pitcher and then Hannah Rogers, who was, it's always lights out pitchers for Florida. For the most part.
Hey, Pat, good stuff. One down. Let's take a break. I know we went a long time. Man, that was good stuff. I knew it was going to be.
Good stuff.
And as we go to break, I'm telling you, we've got a long way to go before next college softball season. But if you haven't jumped on the softball train, you're missing it. It is a fun sport to watch. 1 hour down, 1 to go. We'll talk some Major League Baseball about 5:30. We're supposed to have Kade Kistner, our buddy from Sports Illustrated. Other topics, we'll talk some college football on the other side. Patrick Young, Terry Norvelle, Casey Kurtz, and you when we come back.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Will Olive, Mandarin High School. Go Stangs.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002.
Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with we are more rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is out. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
Oh, we went from softball to, look at there, the Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame. I've got some college football stuff we want to get to, but we're already in hour number 2, and we've got Major League Baseball talk coming up, hopefully with Kade Kistner, our buddy from Sports Illustrated. He'll join us as he does on Tuesday. Patrick Young, Terry Norvell. PY, I got a little, I'm gonna throw some clues out, and Casey can jump in as well, but I'm gonna step aside a little bit. Any idea who Roland Powell is? Roland Powell. That doesn't ring a bell, does it?
No.
Okay. Now, I'll give you some clues. He is known as a comedian, an actor, and a musician. Roland Powell. And Casey, if you feel like you know, jump in as well. A little bit of a sad story. He graduated from First Coast High School. Okay.
Okay.
The local guy. And you would think his stage name, he goes by Lil Duval. Have you ever heard of Lil Duval?
I have, yes.
Okay, that's his real name is Roland Powell. Well, I'm kind of sad to report he had a big concert show this Friday. It's been canceled, Patrick, because they didn't sell enough tickets. How does Lil Duval not sell enough tickets in Dirty Duval?
I just wonder if he's done a good enough job of, like, I used to follow him. He's funny. He has a good song that he can, help them get to his peak. You have to be able to replicate, and you got to keep staying in the eyes of your viewers.
All right.
So I don't know if he's big. Like, where was that at ViStar?
Yeah, it was scheduled at the arena and it got canceled.
He ain't big enough for ViStar. Nah, bro. He could do Daly's Place.
Okay. But canceled. No Lil Duval this Friday.
Wow.
I wasn't going, but I'm just sad to hear that Duval didn't support Lil Duval.
That is right. That is a little sad.
That is a little sad. I can't lie. All right, PY. Wow, I enjoyed that interview with Coach Walton.
I know, right?
A lot of fun, man.
Yeah, gosh, my schedule got so jacked up. So this is what happens for me after basketball season, because softball's already started and they're already in conference play by the time basketball season ends. And you kind of just think, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get, and then before you know it, it's the last weekend.
I know.
And it's Oklahoma.
I know.
And the game's at 12.
How about that?
Forget that part.
We didn't get around to asking Coach Walton. We had the Gator softball coach Tim Walton on for about 30 minutes a moment ago. It was fabulous. I didn't get around to asking him, as if the SEC is not tough enough. Alabama's real good, Florida's real good, Georgia's made it out to Oklahoma City. I'm not so sure any sport took a bigger hit than softball with Texas and Oklahoma coming over. Oklahoma was the bully, right? They won 4 in a row, and Texas just won it all this year, right?
Yeah, that was Texas's dark horse. They never had beaten Oklahoma in their history at the College World Series. And you got to know the girl. Her name was Keegan something. She was a tall girl. The pitcher, you know, she's gonna be back.
Oh yeah,
come back with the vengeance. I really love the Texas softball coach's name.
I can't remember. Who?
Mike White.
Mike White. Yeah,
Mike White.
That's right. Mike White. Mike White. Mike White. All right, Pat, I got a little sports history if you want to go through this real quick.
No.
I like sports history. 1889, way back. 1889. How about this? The final bare knuckles boxing match. They started sanctioning, you had to put gloves on. The final one, John L. Smith beat Jake Kilran in the 75th round. 75 rounds, bare knuckle, 1 minute rounds. And somebody finally said, dude, we got to put gloves on, man. This is just barbaric.
I mean, obviously, they needed to bring those rounds down, and they needed gloves. But goodness gracious,
and they fought outside back in those days.
75 rounds, Terry.
75 rounds. And in 1889 in July, outside. It wasn't no big, beautiful air-conditioned auditorium, my man. Right?
I didn't imagine. I imagine, you know, like those shows kind of like Peaky Blinders where it's like in a dark kind of warehouse, kind of grungy. People are like throwing money. I'm trying to put money on. Like, that's what I kind of get when I think.
Yeah. All right, this date, 1946, Major League Baseball, they raised their salary. And this actually sounds pretty good. Major League Baseball, 1946, the minimum salary was $5,000. That had to be pretty good living, wouldn't you think? $5,000 way back then?
What year?
1946. 1946.
Let's ask. We got to ask ChatGPT. She knows.
We may have to. This date, 1951. This was kind of a bad thing for a manager to do. 1951, Joe DiMaggio was starting to wind down. He wasn't the great player that he was for 20 years. So Casey Stengel, the Yankee manager, supposedly he and Joe DiMaggio didn't get along. At the end of DiMaggio's career, they didn't get along real well. They were totally different personalities. So there was a game on this date, 1951, where Joe DiMaggio, his skills are diminishing. He's playing center field. Stengel gets a guy off the bench and says, hey, I want you to run out there to center field and tell Joe I'm pulling him out of the game. In the middle of the game, you don't do that. You don't do that. Not good. That's a bad manager, right, to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Bad.
Oh, my gosh, Terry. Yes. $5,000 in 1940 is approximately equivalent to about $110,000 to $115,000.
Really?
Back then in the 1940s, you're absolutely right. That was a great salary.
That's a decent salary. And
that was solid, man.
Yeah, that was decent if I've got that right.
Your wife doesn't have to work with that, I think, back at that time.
Yeah. How about this? This date, 1960, Fidel Castro.
Oh, gosh.
He ended the Sugar Kings. That was the best Cuban baseball team. He ended their move. They were going to move to New Jersey as a baseball, goodwill and play baseball. Well, Castro said, we're done. Well, think about what was going on in 1960. That was around the Bay of Pigs and the when all the stuff was going on and Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That's right, the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, so they think about all the great Cuban baseball players that might have made their way over if that team was allowed to come over to New Jersey.
Yeah. All
those great – there was a period, and Casey is a big baseball guy. He'll probably know this as well. There was a long period. We're talking 50s, 60s, even through the 70s when the Cuban athlete had a tough time defecting, so they all stayed in Cuba. There was a good run where it was considered – this was before baseball really went worldwide, over into Japan and everywhere. There was a good run where the Cuban national team, which never got to go to the Olympics because they were, communist, and there was a good run where the Cuban national baseball team was considered the best baseball team in the world. For many people considered they had great players that never came over here to play in the major leagues because of political strife. But no, there was a long period where some of the greatest players, and a lot of people considered that Cuban national team better than anything the rest of the world could throw up.
Was that team? Did they play in the World of Baseball?
I don't think. I don't think they were allowed to. The political strife didn't start coming down until
they really never got to see to put that out there.
Some of the great players, and there was a boxer by the name of Teofilo Stevenson.
Okay,
he was Cuban. He was a heavyweight boxer in Cuba, and he never got to go to like the 60 Olympics, the 64 Olympics, the 72 Olympics. There was a run, including Muhammad Ali and those guys. Some people thought he was the best boxer in the world, but he could never go really because of political strife.
Out of your control, right?
Yeah, and then I think he finally he was very old. He was pushing 40 probably. He finally got to leave Cuba and fight a little bit, but he was well past his prime.
Right.
I remember watching him on like Wild World of Sports, but he was well past his prime. Hey, here's hope for some of these teams that are struggling in Major League Baseball. This date, 1973, the Mets were 12 and a half games out, but they went on to win the pennant. I don't think that's going to happen to the Braves, though.
Okay. No.
I don't think that's going to happen to the Braves. All right, Pat, we'll wrap it up with this. This date, 1992, the Florida Marlins, now they're the Miami Marlins, but the Florida Marlins in 92, they debuted their uniforms. They started playing in 93, so in 92 they debuted their uniforms. I don't know if you remember this story. On opening day in April, when they opened up, they're playing, I think, the Cubs in Miami. First game ever, franchise brand new. They have Billy the Marlin. Have you ever seen the Marlin mascot? It's like what are those fish that have the long?
Yeah, that's a marlin. A marlin.
A marlin. Yeah. There you go. A marlin. So they've got that costume, right? And
yes.
It's called Billy the Marlin, and he has the head with the long marlin spear. What is that called? A spear or whatever? I don't know.
You call their nose spear. I know what you're talking about.
So they had this great idea. They said, well, we're going to have, on opening day, we're going to have Billy the Marlin jump out, paratroop out of a plane and land in the infield and, get the crowd started, So the paratrooper that's going to jump out in the costume, he doesn't want to wear the head gear. He attaches it to him, belts it on to himself.
Oh, Terry, no.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason he didn't want to wear the headgear was for the drag. It was going to hold him down as he jumped out of the plane. So his plan was he was going to put it on halfway down to the ground. Right? So he jumps out of the plane. He's got it secured to his body, and somehow it comes loose. So he's coming down to the stadium, and Patrick, he was very smart, this paratrooper. He thought to himself, I can't land in the middle of 50,000 people minus my head. It would be too traumatic. So he aborts and lands outside the stadium, and the actual mascot who was inside the stadium, he takes off and runs to midfield. And
that was smart.
That was very smart.
Yeah, they got to give him credit for that.
And
good
by
call.
the way, Billy the Marlin's head, it took weeks for them to find.
Oh, man.
There were radio stations having contests and all. They couldn't find the damn head.
That'd be a piece of memorabilia that I would buy. I would pay for that. I would bid on that. That's not a great story.
Patrick, what if the damn thing stabbed you coming down out of the sky?
That's where I thought you were going at first. No. But it's obviously a mascot, so they wouldn't make that thing too like they wouldn't make it like a sword.
Hey, but that was good thinking because again, the paratrooper wasn't the actual mascot. He was just wearing the costume. He was going to land, deliver the baseball, the ceremonial first baseball ever, and then he was going to run off the field. And then the actual mascot guy was already in the stadium.
Yeah.
So this guy had a good idea. He goes, I can't land minus my head.
I bet I don't think he made that, or he made the decision to do it once that happened.
Yeah.
He thought about that, I'm sure, before the jump.
He had to.
If he didn't, hats off to him for being for having that presence of mind.
Yeah. Yes. And the Marlins, they've I want to say they were snake bit, but they won 2 World Series, I think. I think the Marlins
won 2 World Series. I remember watching one. Oh, dude, and it's so sad, man. I remember Felix Hernandez. I think that was his name. He was I don't know which country he was from, but he was they call him King Phoenix and all those things. And I didn't I was like, what happened to him? And I didn't realize that he died in a car. It was a boating accident.
I think it was. I remember that. It was very tragic.
He was a big
Very tragic.
Yeah. Terrible, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a kind of Paul Skeens in terms of what they were going to build their franchise around.
Yeah. He was a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
Young guy. Yeah, it was a tragic fishing accident. I do remember that a little bit. Definitely. We'll have we hope to have Kade Kistner on at the bottom of the hour. I don't know if we'll have time. Maybe we'll carry this over to tomorrow. The Athletic had a list of the best college football rivalries of all time, and several of them stood out. Michigan, Ohio State's number one. I can live with that. I can live with that.
I knew that was going to happen. Yeah.
A couple of them that stood out to me. Miami FSU was at number 7, and that was really on the heels of 80s and 90s. Boy, they had about 10-year run where, man, they played a big game.
No, they didn't stop playing each other. That's not what happened. Bobby, he stayed probably a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And then Miami, I don't know why did they fall off? Was there a recruiting violation? That kind of.
Yeah, they Butch Davis went to clean it up, but yeah, they ended up getting the wrong coaches several times.
Gotcha.
Who was the guy that wore the tie? He was the wrong guy. You gotta have the right coach, man.
Yeah,
they made some bad coaching hires too. Same with FSU. Well, you can say it Florida too. Al Golden. Remember Al Golden at Miami? He wore the tie.
Yes.
He was a disaster.
Really?
Yeah. Bad coaching. They also had number 12 on this list. Florida, Georgia 12. And I've gone over this before. One of the reasons Florida, Georgia, we think it is a huge rivalry around here, but it's not a national rivalry. Here's the problem Florida, Georgia has had. Yeah. The biggest problem Florida, Georgia has had trying to become a national rival is Florida and Georgia never timed it out. They haven't been good the same year very often.
Sometimes, yeah.
You know what I mean? When Oklahoma and Texas over the years, well, a lot of times Oklahoma was 1 and Texas was 4, or Texas was 1 and Oklahoma was 3. Florida, Georgia is a weird series. When Florida has been really good, Georgia hasn't been. And when Georgia's been really good, Florida hasn't been.
Yeah, it's not there. I don't remember really any marquee.
You have a lot of 1 versus 2, Florida, Georgia.
1 versus 2, 3 versus 7.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen a lot of top 5s and below against unranked. We've seen a lot of those.
Agreed. And that has held, I think, Florida, Georgia back from a national perspective. They just haven't timed it out where it's a monster. There haven't been Florida, Georgia pregame. This is the game of the century. The game of the century. Think about Florida State, all those Bowden Spurrier years. I mean, that was 3 versus 5, 2 versus 4, 1 versus 2 you had before. Georgia, Florida never really had that a bunch, and it hurt them.
Yeah, good point.
And I think it hurt them. All right, Pat, let's take a break. We'll come back after this break. Hopefully we'll dial in with Kade Kistner. Pat, if you can stay, that'd be wonderful. If you need to go, we totally understand that as well. We'll talk some Major League Baseball. The All-Star game comes up a week from tonight. The All-Star game. They play on Sunday, and then everybody takes off 4 days. So we'll talk some Major League Baseball here as we start landing the plane on a Tuesday edition. The Young Norvelle Show coming to you from our Tuesday home. You know it, you love it. Hurricane, Julington Creek.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
All righty, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on at that location as the Jaguars, if you are already in their email, you probably got a lot of stuff today and or yesterday. You might have come out last night. You need to go ahead and get signed up to go down and watch some of the practices and then some of the other functions going on. The Jaguars just about ready, just like the rest of the NFL, to reconvene, and this is go time as camps will open in about 12 days. The Hall of Fame guys will open up earlier, of course, within about 6 or 7 days. But Jaguars rookies on the 19th, the full team on the 22nd, and that's pretty standard for the NFL. Time to talk some Major League Baseball as we are pushing the halfway point. Kade Kistner, our buddy from Sports Illustrated, joins us about this time every Tuesday. Mr. Kistner, how you doing? This is it's about go time now in Major League Baseball now.
Oh yeah, it's game time. So it's all we're about halfway through the season. All-Star break right here in exactly a week, I think. So
yeah, week from tonight.
Yeah, week from the night. So yeah, I think the standings are kind of starting to settle out. You're really about what is it, about 23, so about 3 weeks away from the trade deadline. Your sellers and buyers are kind of starting to sort themselves out, and it should be a pretty fun and fast ride to the postseason from here on out.
It won't be fun probably for a couple of managers. I would expect a couple more would get shown the door. Right now, I think we're at Washington just let their guys go, their manager and their GM. I think Pittsburgh earlier, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Colorado, and Washington. Would you expect another couple to go here before too much longer?
Yeah, I think also I believe Brandon Hyde of the Orioles was also
Baltimore.
let go. Yeah, Baltimore. So So yeah, no, I think you're going to see some other folks kind of probably hit the road here. I would imagine that the Rangers are one. If it wasn't Bruce Bochy, could be on the line, but he's such a legendary manager. He's done it for here anyway. They'll probably look at replacing the Angels and things like that. So there's going to definitely be some shifts here, and this is kind of the time when teams, especially teams that are going to sell at the deadline, are going to do that, right? Because they don't want to have managers that are helping make these kind of long term franchise altering decisions. So I would say you're probably looking at another one or two managers probably on the chopping block here.
It's always bittersweet though when you see some of these really bad, I hate to say it, but really bad franchises, and you almost feel like you have to do something if you're ownership, but if you've got very little talent, major league talent, what's Tommy Lasorda supposed to do? What's Billy Martin supposed to do? With the little to bad talent, but somebody goes on the chopping block. Kate, let's talk about what's happened here. Busy holiday weekend we just came out of. Everybody starting yesterday has either 6 or 7 games left. Everybody will be right around 100 games as we'll break for the All-Star game. Nobody hotter than Toronto. My goodness gracious. The Blue Jays. 9-game winning streak. They're now up 3.5 on the Yankees, 4 on Tampa, who lost last night to Detroit. My goodness, the Blue Jays have just taken the Yankees' struggles and just stepped on them right now.
Absolutely, and they've taken full advantage. I mean, the pitching rotation is great. They're hitting the ball really well. This was a team coming into the season that I had actually kind of pegged as a ball club that could make some noise this year. And the fact that they're sitting 15 games over 500 is pretty impressive. So they're just a very, very good ball club. And I mean, to me, it is a little surprising. I was kind of pegged them as, maybe kind of a wild card team.
Yeah.
And they still might be. I think the Yankees, again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think the Yankees, eventually figure it out. And the Blue Jays are just so hot right now, and that's baseball. But I mean, they're looking like a postseason team that could be very, very dangerous come early October.
Kate, I don't know if you looked ahead. Toronto, everybody basically this week has 2 series left. Generally 2 3-game series. Some of them have a 4-game series. As hot as Toronto is, they've got the White Sox, and then they wrap up the Athletics.
But then and then you come back after the All-Star break, and you do have the Giants who are playing well, and then you kind of got this potentially pretty pivotal series with the Yankees, kind of at the end of July, which will be something to definitely take a look at and keep your eye on. So, but they're looking really good. They're really hot right now. So it's just a matter of capitalizing on these weaker teams. These teams that are most at the bottom of the barrel in their respective divisions and leagues, and then trying to get out there and at least win these pivotal series against your divisional rivals.
Do you see those 3 cannibalizing each other the rest of the way, or do you think one will fall off? 1 or 2, I guess, between Yankees, Tampa, and Toronto.
Yeah, so I think with the American League in particular, and very different than the National League, I think the American League has a much different situation. You've got really the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Rays, right? And you got the Tigers, and then you got the Astros, right? And so I think that you could probably be a 500 team. It might actually only take a 500 record to earn a wild card spot in the AL. It's a very weak league this year. Whereas in the National League, I mean, you're going to have to be hot. You're going to have to be good. But there is a world in which the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Rays all make the postseason.
They could all get in. Absolutely. Real quick, we'll get off this division. Yankees have Seattle. They'll finish up a series with Seattle right now, and then they've got the Cubs. That's not easy. Tampa. I watched a lot of their game last night. They're at Detroit, which is not easy, and then they're at Boston. So that sets up the AL East. Another organization really, really hot. I think they lost maybe last night, but you look at what the Astros have done in the last maybe 3 weeks. They have a sweep of the Phillies, they have a sweep of the Dodgers, including an 18-1 ass whipping, and they took.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
would say that game was actually 19-1 against the Dodgers, and that was the worst home loss in Dodger Stadium history.
How
And
about
it was actually the worst. It was the worst loss that the Dodgers have ever experienced. Being known as the Dodgers, it was back in 1948 when they were the Brooklyn Dodgers. They had experienced a worse defeat. So. It was that was pretty brutal, but that was a little bit of history in the making. And yeah, the Astros are just a very, very good team. It was 18-1. Yeah, sorry, I said 19. It was 18-1, but yeah, still, yeah.
And the Astros keep fighting off injury after injury. Their shortstop goes down, but they swept the Phillies about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
They just bludgeoned the Dodgers, and they took 2 or 3 from the Cubs. That's first place team that they just roughed up. The Astros.
And now, coming up, heading into the All-Star break, and then, directly after, they've got the Rangers right ahead of the break, and then they have the Mariners right after the break. And they have the opportunity, if they can take down both of those teams, win those series, or potentially even sweep both of them, that might honestly pretty much wrap up the AL West there.
Yeah, definitely. Phillies keep doing Philly things. They're in first place. Fighting with the Mets, but boy, the Phillies look like the better team. Reading some stuff about Philadelphia, and I want you to comment on this. Looks like, and nobody's got 5 total starting pitchers they just love, really. But boy, the Phillies really happy at the front. Wheeler, Suarez, Sanchez. They're looking to add and kind of bolster that back, 4 or 5, trying to work on the back half of their rotation.
Yeah, Aaron Nola, has always kind of been that number 1, number 2 guy for them, and he's injured right now. And it's kind of unknown when he'll come back, but he's been acting as that number 4, honestly, this year. And Christopher Sanchez, what a career year for him. Ranger Suarez looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball. And Zach Wheeler, I mean, he's going to probably start for the NL this year in the All-Star game. And so you're talking potential Cy Young for him. But yeah, there's definitely their 5th starter, Micah Bell, who's their number 2 prospect. He came up for a start, and I think he only made it through 1 2/3 inning. He walked like 5 guys and gave up 5 runs. So, they're not, they're kind of hoping to get more out of him, a little bit more development. But yeah, there's definitely some trade rumors. Andrew Painter, their number 1 prospect.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to be in the majors here pretty soon. That could happen a few days after the All-Star game. He's not had the best year in the minors. I think he's got like a 4.5 ERA, and but in 56 innings, I think he struck out over 60 guys. So that strikeout to 9 ratio looks pretty good. He's only 22 years old, so that could be pretty good. You have Jesus Luzardo, who's been kind of having a pretty typical career year for him, or career average year for him. But I definitely could see them potentially adding to the rotation at the trade deadline. However, just because of how close the NL is, and there's just not a whole lot of sellers right now. I mean, you're looking at the Diamondbacks and the Marlins and the Rockies, and that's really about it. That starting pitching price is going to be really, really high. And the Phillies would have to give up either one of Painter or Micah Bell to even have that conversation start for some of these available guys. And I don't know that the Phillies want to kind of give up the future for a guy who might pitch 4th in the rotation for them.
Talking some Major League Baseball with Kade Kistner. We do it on about this time every Tuesday. He's kind enough to join us. Kade, I think I've got this right. Address it if it is. I don't think Trey Turner's going to make the trip to Atlanta.
No, he got snubbed. And
what's the deal with that?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of this, it's a lot of fan voting. The coaches and the players only have so much say in how many guys, and the fans, I think, just really, I don't say this very often, I think it's a popularity contest, and I feel like they just got it really, really wrong this year. But, it's sad. I mean, you look at Nathan Eovaldi. I mean, he's got like I think he's got like a sub-2 ERA.
Right.
And he didn't even make the AL team, right? But Jacob deGrom, who is pitching lights out, not better than Nathan Uvalde. I mean, he made it because his name's, Jacob deGrom.
Sure,
So,
sure.
yeah, there's just so many. I mean, I could go through an entire list of guys that I think, got snubbed this year. Trey Turner is at the top of it. And, other than that, you're looking, Christopher Sanchez with the Phillies, Seiya Suzuki,
Yeah.
Juan Soto, Framber Valdez, George Springer. I mean, all these guys deserve to be all stars. And, that's not even taken into account. That's just a few of them, So, Andy
Yeah, I
Pages.
just thought that. I mean, I've been following him at the top of that order, and he's got numbers, and his team's good, and he's got numbers, and his team's good, and you're like,
Yeah.
We don't need to spend a lot of time on the Braves. They're done. The Braves go into the All-Star break. I guess about 10 days ago, I said, hey, the Braves got 9 games left. They really need to go 7-2. So far, they're 4 losses in a row. They're pretty much done. And then you look at the Braves. If you're Snedeker, their manager, I mean, I don't like firing people. I think it's terrible to get fired. I've been fired myself. But the Braves are sitting 13 games out. They're out of the wild card, basically. They have 39 total wins. The Nationals are only 15 and a half out, so they're right. And the Braves only have 2 more wins than the Nationals, and their manager just got fired. If you're management with the Braves, you can't feel comfortable right now, can you?
You can't. But I mean, with Snicker, right, is that this is his 49th year in the organization. He's going on 50.
Wow, how
And
about
so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's why he's not getting fired.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to have a mediocre team coming into the season. If he got fired, it would be pretty cataclysmic. With the
Yeah,
Nationals,
I didn't know all that. Good addendum. Thank you so much. That's why you're Kade Kistner.
with the Nationals, Davey Martinez, I think he's a great manager, and the Nationals are actually performing, a lot better than I thought they would this year. They're a very young team with not a whole lot of veteran talent. I am a little surprised by that, but I think with the fan base and, going into, like I said, these, franchise altering decisions coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks, they probably want some kind of, a new face to kind of lead
Yeah.
this new era of Nationals baseball. With the Braves, I think Snicker, I could almost guarantee you he's going to be done after this season.
Yeah.
He's already talked about retirement. I think they're going to let him walk off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And then probably go get someone, probably reload, revamp in the wintertime. And then, kind of get a new face to lead the Braves. The Braves are done when there's rumors of them trading Ronald Acuna Jr., which won't happen.
Yeah, and I've read that a little bit too, and I'm with you. I don't think it's real, but just the fact that it's fodder tells you a lot about their season.
Yeah, and my rule too for any team is when you get to the All-Star break, if you're 10 games out of a division lead, your season's over, right? You should be a seller. So, I think you're going to see some movement. I think the Braves will probably be a team to watch for at the deadline and reload their farm system. And I bet the Braves probably go and they get a younger guy to kind of help lead them through what could be probably, I would say, a retool, not a rebuild. You don't want to rebuild when you have a guy like Acuna on your team, but it would probably be a retool, and you're probably going to get a kind of a younger manager in there, and should be interesting.
Everybody around baseball is starting now to say the name Cal Raleigh. Raleigh. Cal, you and I have been kicking it around, I think, a lot of it because, I remember him from Florida State. These numbers are starting to get real now. I mean, my man is sitting on 35 home runs. The most home runs before at the All-Star break, Barry Bonds had 39. The American League record for home runs is Aaron Judge with 62. And after Raleigh's most recent home run a couple days ago, he was on pace for 65. These numbers are getting real now. I mean, really real.
Yeah, and he's having a heck of a season. I mean, his OPS plus, which is it's based out of 0 to 200, right? So any number over 100 means you're that percent better than the league. So his OPS plus is 193, which means he's 93% better than any other hitter in baseball right now. Like I say, 35 home runs. I mean, he's doing stuff that we haven't seen. I believe he is now tied the Seattle Mariners franchise record for most home runs before the All-Star break with Ken Griffey Jr.
That guy.
So,
That
yeah.
guy.
I mean, one more home run, he's got a franchise record. I mean, it's not. I mean, he could go on a tear, and he could get pretty close to that Barry Bonds number over the next week. I mean, it would take something pretty heroic, but you never know with baseball.
Kade, we talked and we're closing in on trade deadline. Help me with a term. I keep seeing team control, I think it is.
Yep. Yeah.
Can you explain team control and how that can hold a player down and give the franchise more of an advantage? Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a really big key point in a trade, right? So when you have a guy who's going to be a free agent at the end of this year, then he has what you would call no team control. Okay, so a team control is how many years the team has the rights to that player's contract.
Okay.
So if the guy's going to be a free agent at the end of this baseball season, we would call him a rental, right? So a team is going to trade for him knowing you're only going to get half a season and maybe the postseason out of him. Now, those guys usually come at a cheaper price, right? And that price paid is in prospect capital usually. So when you have a guy, say like Bryce Harper, who is in year 6 of his 10-year contract, if the Phillies were to trade Bryce Harper, he would be team controlled for 4 more years. So the acquiring team would get Bryce Harper for the next 4 years. It's the same thing with a prospect. There's a bunch of new like rookie rules and things like that.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, a team, as long as that player hasn't reached the majors yet, there's I think 5 or 6 years of team control of that rookie player.
Wow.
So when you're pulling off a trade for these guys that you're gonna have for a long while, it's gonna take more of an investment to get a guy with team control than someone who is gonna be a free agent at the end of the year.
Switching over to our man Paul Skeens, he had another Paul Skeens outing. His last outing, he gives you 5 complete, 5 hits, no runs, strikes out 10, very few pitches, and he's back under 2 ERA, 1.94 with a 4-7 record.
What's crazy is I've never seen this stat, and I was looking at it this morning when I was just kind of going through some of the guys I knew we were going to talk about. Paul Skeens has a higher WAR, wins above replacement, than he does wins. I've never seen that for a pitcher. He's got a 4.8 WAR and only 4 wins. It's insanity. I mean, this poor guy. I mean, get him out of Pittsburgh, please.
And
just do right by him.
The Pirates just snapped a 32-game scoreless. They went like 4 straight games or something crazy without scoring a run. And I ran through. This was like 2 days ago. I ran through their season to date, and the Pirates have been shut out like 13 times already.
Yeah. And what's crazy is they absolutely should be sellers. And if you take away Paul Skeens, who they likely won't trade, their best trade chip is Bailey Falter. And Bailey Falter, who is probably not a number 5 guy in most teams' rotations.
Right.
So, he's having an okay year this year. He's got a 3.69 ERA and a pretty decent whip. But when that's your best trade chip as a franchise, you've got some serious issues.
The Mets, are they playing any better, or did they just draw the Yankees over the weekend?
Yeah, they just drew the Yankees over the weekend. They're 1-5 their last 10. They're 13 games over 500. They're playing all right. Juan Soto is looking more like Juan Soto. He goes through these these valleys and these peaks, and he's coming up on his peak right now, and he's coming out of that valley he was in. So that's the Mets are only a game behind the Phillies. So they're playing pretty decently, and again, despite the Yankees being 3.5 games back of the Blue Jays, the Yankees are still a very, very good team and dangerous team. Yeah.
Ohtani almost is like a trade for the Dodgers when it comes to the mound. He's starting to stretch things out now. He went 2 innings the other night, 31 total pitches, 21 for strikes, and he struck out the side, which tells you he's throwing strikes. It's almost like they found the proverbial $100 bill in their pant pocket, when you do laundry almost.
Yeah, no, the Dodgers just keep getting richer. I mean, they are going to be looking for pitching help. Their run differential lately has been, negative, which is not good. So they've got to go and figure out some of that pitching. I believe they're activating Tyler Glasnow now tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's going to be a really huge boon for them. They might they're always looking to add. Their lineup is pretty filthy. So I imagine they're going to probably be looking for maybe another starter to have in their back pocket, just with all the injury prone guys that they're going to have. And I hate to call Otani injury prone, but
Yeah,
when he's on the
sure.
mound, you never know. Tyler
Yeah.
Glasnow is very injury prone. You never know what you're going to get out of Clayton Kershaw. So they're probably going to be looking for a kind of a fifth starter type guy. There's been some rumors that they're talking to the Diamondbacks about
Okay.
Merrill Kelly and potentially Zach Gallen, some guys like that. And they've got the prospect capital to pull that off, and the Diamondbacks are absolutely going to be sellers this year. So that's where I think the Dodgers are going to probably be focusing their attention. But yeah, to kind of capitalize on what you were saying, when you can get a pitcher like Otani to come back right around the All-Star
Yeah.
break, and he's going to be probably full bore by the beginning of August, middle of
Yeah.
August, right as the end of the season's coming up. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that as a franchise.
Good Lord. Speaking of franchises, about 2 minutes left with Kade Kistner as we wrap up our Tuesday Major League Baseball talk. I got about 2 minutes left, Kade. Last night, and this just speaks to, boy, when your franchise is put together well and you're good and you're stocked. I'm watching, flipping channels last night, watching Detroit and Tampa Bay, and the announcers did a great job. Detroit runs a guy, I think his name was Montero, was the starter last night. And, I mean, this guy, big right-hander, broad shoulders, just looks great, man. He's just blowing gas and control of the strike zone. He's just chewing them up. And the announcer said, oh, yeah, this guy, this is his fifth time he's driven from Toledo to Detroit. You're like, this is like found money for them 5 times. And this guy looked like a season number 2, maybe number 3 guy on most staffs.
Yeah, he pitched really well last night, and the Tigers are the best team in baseball right now, and a lot of people are very surprised about that. And I keep, I tell my friends and my coworkers, like, guys, the Tigers, they beat the Astros in the wild card last year, and they went and they lost to the I don't remember if it was the Guardians or the Yankees, but they made it all the way to the ALDS, and they made a pretty good series out of it, and that was a very, very young team last year. And now everything's just kind of clicking for them, and they're going to be very good for quite a while. And they're dangerous right now. And that's the thing is with these young teams is they have all this talent. They've got some veteran talent, but you have these top prospects in all of baseball that are knocking at the door that want an opportunity. And then you got a guy like Montero who's just kind of being shulled back and forth. And it's like, all right, man, I need you to come out here and throw 6 innings of 2-run ball for us. And he's like, all right, great. I'll make this
against a good team. Tampa's playing well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're playing well. Kade, we'll leave you on this 30 seconds. Will there be enough participants to have a home run derby? Does anybody want to do the home run derby?
Well, it does this every year. It goes right up to the deadline, and guys eventually say yes, they want to do it. And a lot of it comes down to their family and friends wanting them to do it. But there is some kind of, thought process behind it, messing guys' swings up.
Yes, it's always been the thought, yeah.
Right, and so I think some guys are kind of more hesitant to do it. Guys like Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper and Pete Alonso and Vlad. I mean, they've all been there, done that, won it. So these guys that you would maybe typically see aren't, but I think you're gonna probably get 8 contestants, and I think we're gonna see it. So and there's always nice incentive for these guys to do as well.
Are you heading there next Tuesday or heading to the All-Star game? I can't remember if you said you were.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so we'll play it by ear next Tuesday. You're probably going to be busier than heck. That is the night of the game next Tuesday.
Yeah, I should be fine because I'll kind of be in the media area, and that's kind of what everyone does anyway. So
sounds good. He is Kade Kistner. It is our baseball talk. We enjoyed it every Tuesday around 5:30. Kade, enjoy the rest of the week, and can't wait to talk to you if you're live from Atlanta. Thanks, buddy.
Sounds good. Thanks, sir. Bye-bye.
That's Kade Kistner, and that is the wrap on our show. Had a good one. Enjoyed Tim Walton, of course, Casey producing, and Patrick Young joining us. We'll get together tomorrow at 4 o'clock for the next edition of the Young and Norvelle Show.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax.